Welcome to Holy Feet. This wonderful book, Shri Sai Satcharitra, was originally written in Marathi by Govind Raghunath Dabolkar. Sai Baba gave him the prophetic name Hemant Pant. Before going into this chapter, I want all my fellow devotees to please close your eyes, visualize Shri Sai Baba in front of you, and recite with me 3 times. ॐ श्री साईनाथाय नमः। ॐ श्री साईनाथाय नमः। ॐ श्री साईनाथाय नमः। After offering our prayers with full love and devotion to Shri Sai Baba, let us get into this chapter. Chapter 7. In this chapter, we would be covering wonderful incarnation, behavior of Sai Baba, his yogic practices, his all-pervasiveness and mercy, leper devotee service, Master Khapade's plague case, and finally a story on going to Pandharpur. Wonderful incarnation. Sai Baba knew all yogic practices. He was well versed in the 6 processes including dhoti, which is stomach cleaning by a moistened piece of linen 3 feet in breadth and 22.5 feet in length. Khandi Yoga, that is separating his limbs and joining them again, and Samadhi, etc. If you thought that he was a Hindu, he looked like a Yavan. If you thought him to be a Yavan, he looked like a pious Hindu. No one definitely knew whether he was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. He celebrated the Hindu festival of Ram Navami with all due formalities and at the same time permitted the sandal procession of the Mohammedans. He encouraged wrestling bouts in this festival. When the Gokul Ashtami came, he got the Gopal Kala ceremony duly performed, and on Eid festivals, he allowed the Mohammedans to say their prayers or namaz in his masjid. Once, during a Muharram festival, some Mohammedans proposed to construct a tazia or tabut in the masjid, keep it there for some days, and afterwards take it in procession through village. Sai Baba allowed the keeping of tabut for 4 days and on the 5th day got it removed from the masjid without the least compunction. If we say that he was a Mohammedan, his ears were pierced, that is, had holes according to Hindu custom. If you think that he was a Hindu, he advocated the practice of circumcision, though according to Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who observed him closely, he was not himself circumcised. Wide article in Sai Leela on Baba Hindu Ki Yavan by B.V. Dev, page 562. If you call him Hindu, he always lived in the masjid. If Mohammedan, he had always the dhuni or sacred fire there, and the following things which are contrary to Mohammedan religion, that is, grinding on the handmill, blowing of the conch and bells, oblation in fire, bhajan, giving of food and worship of Baba's feet by means of arghya or water were allowed there. If you think that he was a Mohammedan, the best of Brahmins and Agnihotris, leaving aside their orthodox way, fell prostrate at his feet. Those who went to make enquiries about his caste were dumbfounded and were captured by his darshan. So, none could definitely decide whether Sai Baba was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. This is no wonder, for he who completely surrenders himself to the Lord by getting rid of his egoism and body consciousness, thus becoming one with him, and has nothing to do with any question of caste or nationality. Baba saw no difference between any two castes and even between beings. He took meat and fish with fakirs but did not grumble when dogs touched dishes with their mouths. Such a unique and wonderful incarnation was Sai Baba. On account of the merits in my past birth, I had the good fortune to sit at his feet and enjoy his blessed company. The joy and delight I derived therefrom was incomparable. In fact, Sai Baba was pure Anand and consciousness. I cannot sufficiently describe him, his greatness and uniqueness. He who took delight at his feet was established in his own self. Many sannyasis, sadhaks, and all sort of men aspiring for salvation came to Sai Baba. He always walked, talked, and laughed with them and uttered Allah Malik, that is, God is the sole owner. He never liked discussion or disputation. He was always calm and controlled, though irritable at times, always preached Vedanta, and nobody knew till the last who was Baba. Princes and poor people were treated alike by him. He knew the inmost secret of all, and when he gave expression to them, all were surprised. He was the repository of all knowledge, still, he feigned ignorance. He also disliked honor. Such was the characteristic of Sai Baba. Though he had a human body, his deeds testified to his goodhood. All people considered him as the god in Shirdi. Behavior of Sai Baba. Ignorant that I am, I cannot describe Baba's miracles. He got almost all the temples in Shirdi repaired. Through Tatya Patil, the temples of Shani, Ganpati, Shankar Parvati, village deity, and Maruti were put in order. His charity was also remarkable. The money he used to collect as dakshina was freely distributed, rupees 20 to some, rupees 15 or 50 to others every day. The recipients thought that this was pure charity money, and Baba wished that it should be usefully employed. People benefited immensely by having Baba's darshan. Some became hale and hearty, wicked people were turned into good ones, leprosy was cured in some cases, many got their desires fulfilled. Without any medicine being put in the eyes, some blind men got back their sight, and some lame ones got their limbs. Nobody could see the end of his extraordinary greatness. His fame spread far and wide, and pilgrims from all sides flocked to Shirdi. Baba had his asan near the dhuni and always rested there. He sat in meditation, sometimes without a bath. He used to tie a small white turban on his head and wear a clear dhotar around his waist and a shirt on his body. This was his attire in the beginning. He first practiced medicine in the village. He examined patients and gave medicines. He was always successful and he became famous as Hakim or doctor. A curious case may be narrated here. One devotee had his eyes quite red and swollen. No doctor was available in Shirdi. The other devotees took him to Baba. In such cases, other doctors would use ointments, anjans, cow milk, and camphor drug, etc. Baba's remedy was quite unique. He pounded some bibas, that is some carpus anacardium, that is for making nuts, and made two balls of them and thrust them on in each eye of the patient and wrapped a cloth or a bandage around them. Next day, the bandage was removed and water was poured over them. The inflammation subsided and the pupil became white and clear. Though the eyes are very delicate, the bibas caused no hurt but removed the disease of the eyes. Many such cases were cured. This is only one instance in this regard. Baba's yogic practices. Baba knew all the processes and practices of yoga. Two of them will be described here. First, Dhauti Kriya or cleansing process. Every third day, Baba went to the well near Banyan tree at a considerable distance from the masjid, washed his mouth and had a bath. On one occasion, he was seen throwing up his intestines, cleaning them inside outside and placed them on a jam tree for drying. There are people in Shirdi who have actually seen this and who have testified of this act. Ordinary dhoti is done by a moistened piece of linen, 3-inch broad, 22.5 feet long. This piece is gulped down the throat and allowed to remain in the stomach for about half an hour for being reacted there and then taken out. But Baba's dhoti was quite unique and extraordinary. Second, Khand Yoga. In this practice, Baba extracted the limbs from his body and left them separately at different places in the masjid. Once, a gentleman went to masjid and saw the limbs of Baba lying in separate places. He was terrified. He first thought of running to the village officers and informing them of Baba being hacked to pieces and murdered. He thought that perhaps he would be held responsible as he was the first informant and knew something of the affair. So he kept silent. But next day, when he went to the masjid, he was very much surprised to see Baba hale and hearty as before. He thought that what he had seen the previous day was only a dream. Baba practiced yoga since his infancy and nobody knew or guessed the proficiency he had attained in it. He charged no fee for his cures, became renowned and famous by virtue of his merits, gave health to many a poor and suffering people. This famous doctor of doctors cared none for his interests, but always worked for the good and welfare of others, himself suffering unbearable and terrible pain many a times in the process. One such instance I will relate now, which will show the all pervasive and the most merciful character of Sai Baba. Baba's all pervasiveness and mercy. In the year 1910, Baba was sitting near the dhuni on Diwali and warming himself. He was putting firewood into the dhuni which was burning brightly. A little later, instead of pushing logs of wood, Baba pushed his arm into the dhuni. His arm was scorched and burnt. This was noticed by the errand boy Madhav and also by Madhav Rao Deshpande or Shama. They at once ran to Baba and Madhav Rao clasped Baba by his waist from behind and dragged him forcibly backwards and asked, Deva, why you done this? Then Baba came to his senses and replied, the wife of a blacksmith at some distant place was working in the bellows of a furnace. Her husband called her. Forgetting that her child was on her lap, she got up hastily and the child slipped into the furnace. I immediately thrust my hand into the furnace and saved the child. I do not mind my arm being burnt, but I am glad the life of the child is saved. Leper devotees service. On hearing the news of Baba's hand being burned from Madhav Rao Deshpande or Shama, Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, accompanied by the famous doctor Parmanand of Mumbai with his medical outfit consisting of ointments, lint and bandages etc., rushed to Shirdi and requested Baba to allow Dr. Parmanand to examine the arm and dress the wound caused by the burn. This was refused. Ever since the burnt arm was dressed by Bhagoji Shinde, a leper devotee. His treatment consisted in massaging the burnt part with ghee and then placing a leaf over it and bandaging it tightly. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar solicited Baba many a times to unfasten the bandages, get the wound examined, dressed and treated by Dr. Parmanand with the object that it may heal fast. Dr. Parmanand himself made similar requests, but Baba postponed it by saying that Allah was his doctor and did not allow his arm to be examined. Dr. Parmanand's medicines were not exposed to the air of Shirdi and they remained intact. But he had the good fortune of getting darshan of Baba. Bhagoji was allowed to treat the hand daily. After some days, the arm healed and all were happy. Still, we do not know whether any trace of pain was left or not. Every morning, Bhagoji went through this program of untying the bandages, massaging the arm with ghee and tightly bandaging it again. This went on till Sai Baba's Samadhi or death. Sai Baba, a perfect Siddh as he was, did not really want this treatment, but out of love for his devotee, he allowed the Upasana, that is, service of Bhagoji, to go on uninterrupted all along. When Baba started for Lendi, Bhagoji held an umbrella over him and accompanied him. Every morning, when Baba sat near the post close to the Dhuni, Bhagoji was present and started his service. Bhagoji was a sinner in his past birth. He was suffering from leprosy. His fingers had shrunk, his body was full of pus and smelling badly. Though outwardly he seemed so unfortunate, he was really very lucky and happy, for he was the premier servant of Baba and got the benefit of his company. Master Khapade's plague case. I shall now relate another instance of Baba's wonderful Leela. Mrs. Khapade, the wife of Mr. Dada Saheb Khapade of Amravati, was staying at Shirdi with her young son for some days. One day, the son got high fever, which further developed into bubonic plague. The mother was frightened and felt most uneasy. She thought of leaving the place for Amravati and went near Baba in the evening. When he was coming near the Vada, now the Samadhi Mandir, in his evening rounds for asking his permission. She informed him in a terrible tone that her dear son was down with plague. Baba spoke kindly and softly to her, saying that the sky is beset with clouds, but they will melt and pass off, and everything will be smooth and clear. So saying, he lifted up his kafani up to the waist and showed to all present four fully developed bubons as big as eggs, and added, "See how I have to suffer for my devotees. Their difficulties are mine." Seeing this unique and extraordinary deed or Leela, the people were convinced as to how the saints suffer pain for their devotees. The hearts of the saints is softer than wax. It is soft in and out as butter. They love their devotees without any idea of gain and regard them as their true relatives. Going to Pandharpur. I shall now close this chapter after relating a story illustrating how Sai Baba loved his devotees and anticipated their wishes and movements. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who was a great devotee of Baba, was Mamaltadar at Nandurbar in Khandesh. He got an order to transfer to Pandharpur. His devotion to Sai Baba bore fruit, as he got an order to stay at Pandharpur, which is regarded as the Bhuvaikuntha, that is, heaven on earth. Nana Sahib had to take immediate charge, so he left for the place without even writing or informing anybody at Shirdi. He wanted to give a surprise visit at Shirdi, his Pandharpur, see and salute his Vithoba or Baba, and then proceed further. Nobody knew of Nana Sahib's departure for Shirdi, but Sai Baba knew all about this, as his eyes were everywhere, that is, omniscient. As soon as Nana Sahib approached Neemgaon, a few miles from Shirdi, there was a stir in the masjid at Shirdi. Baba was sitting and talking with Mahalsapati, Appa Shinde, and Kashiram, when he at once said, "Let us all four do some bhajan. The doors of Pandari are open. Let us sing merrily." Then he began to sing in chorus, the bhav of the songs being, "I have to go to Pandharpur and I have to stay on there, for it is the house of my Lord." Baba sang and the devotees followed him. After a short while, Nana Sahib came there with his family, prostrated before Baba, and requested him to accompany them to Pandharpur and stay with them there. This solicitation was not necessary, as the devotees told Nana Sahib that Baba was already in the mood of going to Pandharpur and staying there. Hearing this, Nana Sahib was moved and fell at Baba's feet. Then, after getting Baba's permission, Udi or sacred ash, and blessings Nana Saheb left for Pandharpur. There is no end to Baba's story, but let me now stop here, reserving for the next chapter other topics such as importance of human life, Baba's living on alms, Baijawai's service and other stories. Woe to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Thank you for being with Holy Feet. Please subscribe to our channel